This is gangster rap, the streets saying thanks for that. Wait, where the gangsters at? Ayy, where the gangsters at? Party and bullshit. What's with the pie?
What's up? Today I'm going to be doing a beat breakdown for Night Kings by Blaklez featuring Thato, Saul. So I'm just going to play a little bit of the beat. I'm not going to show my screen. I do know that sometimes it's better when people see exactly what's going on, but I'm going to explain through the process and, possibly at a later stage, I don't know, maybe I'll make another video where I actually do show my screen. So... So I'm just going to break down some of the elements as I had them, what was going through my mind at the time. Just looking at my project now, I actually started this project with the drums, which is something I rarely do. I can see all the melodic elements at the bottom. Usually it's the other way around, where I've got the melodic stuff right at the top, the piano, the samples, what else? I usually go piano, samples, percussion, 808, and then I go into the drums, but like right at the end. So this one was very, very different in that way. Let me just open up a couple of the first drum hits. Okay, so it's a little bit of percussion and then a snare, right? Everything that I did, I remember for this beat specifically, everything is slightly off grid. So when people make drums, they literally will go to these lines that they see and they'll click it in, click it in, click it in, click it in. What I did here is I made sure that when I clicked in, nothing snapped to the grid. Nothing, let me do it like that. Nothing was at the grid. It was literally either off in that direction a little bit, or off slightly in the other direction. What that does is it gives you that feeling that the beat is slightly, it's disjointed, but it's jointed. It's joint because it's repeating itself. So even though things are slightly out, at the end of the day, because you're hearing it in a loop, your brain is sort of just figures it's okay. If it's happening enough times, it's okay. And then I do have elements that sort of bring it back together. So things like the kick, the snare is. Let me see if the snare is on. Yeah, the snare is slightly out, but it's not too much of an issue. But there are elements that sort of tie it back together, and obviously because I'm moving on one tempo, everything sort of gels in any case. So at the moment, the track itself is 81 beats per minute. I'm just gonna open up one or two other elements that I had running. Okay. So we've got the kick and the snare and the percussion. Very, very rounded kick. This is the same kick I use all the time. I literally, for the past maybe 6 years, regardless of the genre, I've always used the same kick. It's an OVO kick off of a random pack I got many, many years ago. Yeah. But in terms of the percussion, I realize now that I usually just pick and grab at any random percussion I can find. So at the moment I have. That's the only percussion I have, and one of them is even the snare. So there really isn't that much going on with regards to that. And then obviously once you play it all together, it sounds like this. There is a hi-hat line that I added though, that sounds like this. So even this has that same you're sort of waiting, that next one's supposed to hit. And looking at it now, again, it's not on grid. And I think this is where I'm not angry at modern day music, but I think the ease of just having a mouse and just being able to then just click your notes in, people will then snap to grid, meaning they will write it in, cell by cell. They'll put the little blocks in. Whereas when things are played out, then you get that humanized feel. You get the groove. Call it the groove, right? Let me put the tempo on, the metronome, so you can hear. You hear that? Almost none of them are playing at the same time that the clicker comes in. And that it sounds disjointed alone, but then once you put it all together, it sounds pretty cool. So we are down to all the drums so far. Okay. Let us talk about this sample that I have running here. I don't even know what it is, to be honest. Usually what I do with my samples is I'll go and grab an obscure sample, something very random. I'll then load it into Arcade. It's basically a VST where you can manipulate samples. I'll then load it into Arcade, and then I will chop it up there, I'll reverse it, I will change it, I'll change the pitch, whatever it is. And then from there, I will render that as a WAV file. From there, I'll then take that WAV file and repeat the process, maybe 1 or 2 more times. These days I've been a bit lazy, I just do it once. But if I want something that's really obscure that no one's really gonna pick out, then I'll just chop it up in Arcade and then render it as something else. So here we have this. Okay, I think it comes in again here. Oh no, it's the exact same thing, right? So that little sample, that forms basis for, that's the base of the track. It's the basis of the track. It's all over the place. It actually runs right the way through the track. Everything else is sort of built around this. So when you hear this, hold on. And it's a soundscape. I'm listening to it now. I'm hearing little birds chirping in the background. I'm hearing vinyl. I'm hearing all sorts on top of that sample. And that's what gives it that feeling, right? The next element that I want to introduce is the 808. The 808, I was a bit fearful of doing this, but the 808 also is off-grid. And it actually had a really, really nice, it was received well. It hits, but it's disjointed again as well. You're like it sounds so clumsy, especially when you want it to be hitting it comes in as like, it's disjointed again. You get that same effect. So when you play that. It sounds like it doesn't know what it's doing just yet, but once you get into the track, then obviously. Okay, so next element I want to bring in is, I'm seeing that this was quite cheeky of me. So I've got a bass running. But it's running with an 808, which is something I try to never do. You should never really have, there's no real reason for this. There's no reason to do this. I think what makes it okay though is the bass is quite subdued, and the 808 it's not a bassy 808. The 808 actually is like I think it's a whole octave higher if I'm not mistaken. If I take it and I play the 808 an octave lower, yeah, see now, it sounds cool. I don't know why I didn't do it. but then it would have clashed with the bass line, so it would have sounded like this. Yeah. Okay. This is not sounding great. Really isn't. I know you probably won't be able to hear it 100%, but yeah, it doesn't sound incredible. What I'm gonna introduce next is the piano. Very basic piano. I use true pianos. Nothing incredible about this. Let me see what I ran it through. I have isotope vinyl running, it's like it's like a version of RC20. It's like a type of RC20. So RC20, you get all these like really nice vintage effects from it. You get that warming, you get the distortion, you get that sound, all the little component-y type sounds, like the electricity and that type of thing, manufactured within that VST. So what I have here is a vinyl that does a similar thing. It's not the same really, but it is similar. Yeah, electrical noise, warp, depth, dust, wear, mechanical noise. Yeah, it's great, love it. And then I use Fruity Convolver, which I think is probably one of the best reverbs that I've ever used. I wish there was a way to package it and then play it in Cubase, because then I would use it when I'm actually mixing vocals. It's just something about it that I really do enjoy. And yeah, it's very wet piano that sounds like it's far off in the distance, like it's dreamy. Realizing now I made a gap in this particular part for the breakdown. I wanted it to be felt. This. There's no drums, nothing's playing in this part. And then it comes back in after that. Cool. Next thing that I want to introduce is, what is this? Okay, no, that's still the kick. I am missing something. Ah, it's the vocal, this one. Nope, that's not it either. Where is it? Is within the sample. There's a portion of the sample where the vocal comes out. And that's it. That is literally everything in the beat. Let me just touch on what's happening in the verse real quick. Not many changes. I just pulled elements out and I put a filter on that bass as well as the sample, so it basically gives the artist space to do what they need to do. What's that? Did the slide. Almost embarrassed to say that. That's it. That's all that I did in the beat, and then that loops right until the end. That's it. So yeah, I will most probably end up doing another video where I actually have a screen showing, just to show what it is, basically go through the process on screen. I think that'll be nice for not learning purposes, but just to see what it is that I did. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Peace.